We have reasserted that America belongs to the American people, and I encourage all countries to take their own stand in defense of their citizens as well. It's time to end the failed experiment of open borders. You have to end it now. See, I can tell you. I'm really good at this stuff. Your countries are going to hell.
You cannot claim to be the United Nations while disregarding the voice of 54 nations. It is not possible. Africa is no longer willing to wait on the margins of global governance while decisions about peace, security, and development are made without our understanding, without our perspectives, and without our voice.
Say, Obibepuwa is what you do. Say, Trump to Michelle Africa, not very shithole. He knows what he's talking about. Because your leaders have made Africa into a shithole. Say, Africa, you just say, the 80-year-olds, the 70-year-olds, the 90-years-olds, or I'm bomb, brave, or muji, a woo, I'm for some trap, so sadly, let me Trump, not Democrats in a by year, and Kasabi again, Granny.
Not only is the UN not solving the problems it should, too often, it's actually creating new problems for us to solve. The best example is the #1 political issue of our time, the crisis of uncontrolled migration. It's uncontrolled. Your countries are being ruined. The United Nations is funding an assault on Western countries and their borders. We have reasserted that America belongs to the American people, and I encourage all countries to take their own stand in defense of their citizens as well. It's time to end the failed experiment of open borders. You have to end it now. See, I can tell you. I'm really good at this stuff. Your countries are going to hell. In America, we've taken bold action to swiftly shut down uncontrolled migration. Once we started detaining and deporting everyone who crossed the border and removing illegal aliens from the United States, they simply stopped coming. They're not coming anymore. We're getting a lot of credit, but they're not coming anymore.
You cannot claim to be the United Nations while disregarding the voice of 54 nations. It is not possible. Africa is no longer willing to wait on the margins of global governance while decisions about peace, security, and development are made without our understanding, without our perspectives, and without our voice. Africa's exclusion is not only unacceptable, unfair, and grossly unjust, it also undermines the very credibility of the United Nations, this organization. Africa deserves, ladies and gentlemen, at the very least, 2 permanent seats with full rights, including the right to veto, and 2 additional non-permanent seats on the United Nations Security Council. The world must understand that reforming the Security Council is not a favor to Africa or to anybody. It is a necessity for the United Nations' own survival. If the United Nations is to remain relevant in this century, it must reflect today's realities, not the post-war power arrangements of 1945. Africa dominates most of the Security Council agenda, provides some of the largest contingents of UN peacekeeping forces, and bears the heaviest costs of instability. Yet we remain the only continent without a permanent seat at the main table where decisions about our destiny are made. Africa deserves, ladies and gentlemen, at the very least, 2 permanent seats with full rights, including the right to veto, and 2 additional non-permanent seats on the United Nations Security Council. The world must understand that reforming the Security Council is not a favor to Africa or to anybody. It is a necessity for the United Nations' own survival. If the United Nations is to remain relevant in this century, it must reflect today's realities, not the post-war power arrangements of 1945. Over the past 15 months, we are proud to have led the multinational security support mission in Haiti, not because it has been easy, but because solidarity is the essence of the United Nations. On human rights, our principle is clear and unwavering. The protection of civilians and respect for humanitarian law cannot be applied selectively. We cannot condemn suffering in one place and turn a blind eye in another. Kenya is gravely concerned by the humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza and by the immense suffering of civilians caught in the devastation of disproportionate military operations. At the same time, we call for the unconditional release of Israeli hostages. In line with the African Union and United Nations resolutions, we also call for a permanent ceasefire, for strict adherence to international humanitarian law, and for the launch of a credible political process. Only through such a process can the vision of a 2-state solution be realized, where Israel and Palestine live side by side in peace, security, and stability. Kenya is equally deeply troubled by the worsening humanitarian situation in Sudan, where innocent citizens are caught in the crossfire of a needless war. We fully endorse the Quad, comprising Egypt, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and the United States, in affirming that there cannot be a military solution and that only political dialogue offers a viable path forward. We join the Quad in urging all parties, including SAF, RSF, and the external actors, to respect Sudan's sovereignty, unity, and territorial integrity, and firmly reject any attempts to divide the country, reaffirming our unwavering support for a unified Sudan for the benefit of all its people. Ladies and gentlemen, I can, however, state with absolute conviction that the United Nations has been one of humanity's greatest achievements. For 8 decades, It has held back the specter of global war, calmed conflicts from Cambodia to Liberia, and stood guard in some of the world's most dangerous places through the courage of its peacemakers and peacekeepers. Today, we are gathered for the UN at 80. The question is unavoidable. Is the United Nations relevant to the demands of our time?
But nyansa bianim to me. Only time si nyansa bianim. Say obi bepuwa is what you do. Say Trump to me share Africa nim no very shit holer. He knows what he's talking about. Because the leaders have made Africa into a shit hole. And a continent of 54 nations, very strong. Yenya one voice na de ko baby a when na kontie yen. Say Africa, ye jai say the 80-year-olds, the 70-year-olds, the 90-year-olds or omo bomb bread omo ji ewu omo force omo trap nya so sa de yetimi twam na democracy no eba yi a ankasa be ge kwanim. Ye jai ye jimie say the ruling government all the time has the final say in everything. Corruption can be fought because everybody is appointed by the president. That's what is happening in Africa, including Ghana. It is time to stop that stupid thing. We always blame the whites. But have we looked into ourselves to see, say, are we also part of the problem? We are 80%, the white 20%. Obibeka's way Jimmy no, mu say Jimmy wo ho. Mu say Jimmy wo ho. Jimmy. Because yes, a ban saying and a survey yet me for be as minister within 1 year, we sit down here for to the detriment of the ordinary people, and we clap. Oko Cameroon Abia will be a watch house while we didn't know who come and the pipes now say was Siasa who I just I'm still the president of Cameroon. Near born something or so. Try you by coup. Now, say, nay, I said there be a TV that Jimmy Promax. We call ourselves democracy, but we kill our people. And then Ghana, Yanimu, Yakwa, Yakasa. You were refugees in Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana. Ghana has refugees in Cote d'Ivoire. And we go and see that. And we are talking. Master, Trump. Okay, so we are shit. Now, Mimi dear, it is time. Say ye African nations, you better then we come to the AU now. I am rubber stamp. No, we need to work on it. What is lacking? Transparency, accountability. Corrupt people that we can't tell them say you are corrupt. Why does war happen in Africa and we want to the West to come and help us? Are we dumb? And then now we calculate it. Should there war and then whites in the Ukraine, they are whites. They're not blacks. And then war Sudan. Africa needs to have a standing force to stop those wars. And then yes, we've been here. Obia who want 4 term, no, you can't change it to double term. The military will move in and scatter you. That should be the continent what constitution. You can't. The rule of law, if it's working, it has to work with everybody. We need to change our mentality. This do you know me, do you know me? That stupid attitude has to change. Ya nyesa na ye yam kwasasem se ya sa shi to no o meka na sense. And it is good to have all the rhetorics. Go to the world way formality okay. The real problem is ourselves, me and you. How we see ourselves, how we govern ourselves. Your constitution way and your constitution you did poor mind and more mind equality. This constitution, 19th constitution, and your idea in this time is it still needed? Okay, Semenka. How long shall we stay under our own slavery mode? And then I'm saying, both the MPP, NDC, they are there, so they can't even fight. They can say, and you go and blame Trump. Girl, I'm saying your waters are destroyed. There is food, but very soon Ghana is going to starve. Are you going to blame Trump? Now we are also me mama go for about. What they are called shoot. We need to do our own. My yes bi na abrofo no struggle to get visa to Africa. Because nyame may be to excel. By we are not excelling. That be munyansa no. America will stand up and greet us. Until then, we are called shit hole. I suppose you have memories of share. We need to manage like a man.